So we are going to take this photo of this nice person who told me I could use her photo, and we're going to do all that magic stuff to it. And when we're all done, we can talk about if it's appropriate magic stuff. So the first thing I like to do is duplicate the layer, because that way I've got my original in the background, and if I do anything that I just hate, I haven't done it forever. So of course there are several ways to dupe a layer. I like to just drag the layer to the new layer icon. You could of course choose the menu or anything. And because I'm a good student, I'm going to rename my layer Retouch. And now I'm going to click on some of those little red dots. So I'm going to get the spot healing brush. Remember, I can use my left and right bracket keys to make it bigger and smaller. I also like to zoom in a little bit. Command plus, just so I can see what's going on. And this magic tool lets me just click things away. It's kind of scary. It's so easy. It's easy to get carried away and do too much. And you can make people look like they're made of plastic if you're not careful. So I'm just going to get the largest spots here. That's not bad, is it? I could do her forehead, but I don't think I will. Maybe just a little bit. Okay. Now, a lot of this stuff is not perfect yet, but this is where it gets even more fun. Of course, you could do more, but I am now going to take my retouch layer, and I'm going to duplicate that. Same way. Duplicate. I'm going to call it soft. I'm going to take the soft layer and blur it, and it will look really awful for a little while in part of this process. So, filter and blur. Our book had us use surface blur. For this, I just like to use Gaussian blur. I choose Gaussian blur because it has numbers you can put in. You can pick how much you want to do it. And how much you blur it depends on the effect you're looking for. Do you want totally dreamy or slightly realistic? I would encourage you to try a couple of different settings just to see what happens. So I'm going to do this. If I was doing normal, just trying to do kind of a normal retouch, I'd probably just blur it enough so that her skin started to look smooth. But because this is a demo, what the heck, let's make it really blurry. We'll go for dreamy. All right. And there we go, all done. No, just kidding. That looks awful. But what we can do is we can use a layer mask, just like we did with levels, to paint in the detail. I should say use layer mask to reveal the picture underneath. So we've got this. We'd like to reveal a little bit of that. So I'm going to add a layer mask, which is this little button way down here. Whoops, no it's not. I'm going to undo that. It's this little button way down here, add layer mask. And I'm going to paint in black, which is not really painting, it's putting a command on the layer mask to reveal what's underneath. So I go over, I get my black as my foreground color, and then I do my usual stuff up here where I say, oh, paintbrush, okay, paintbrush, black foreground color, make sure that it's soft. Yep, I've got the hardness turned down all the way. Mode, normal, opacity. I like to turn this down. I just don't want it to happen all at once. And now I can use, again, the left and right bracket keys, and I'm going to just paint in the parts I want to be sharp. Okay. Typically, lips, teeth, eyes, maybe a little bit of hair. Okay. Now, it still looks a little silly at this point. Generally, though, one of the things is to completely get the eyes done, because fuzzy eyes just don't work. They're just not fun. Okay. Zoom out a little bit. Get a bigger brush. Maybe a little bit of hair, just because, you know, hair looks better sharper. Now, it's still a little extreme, isn't it? So I think what I'll do is I can just turn down the opacity on this whole layer. So here's my opacity control. I turn this down just a little bit. And if I do it just right, it gets hard to tell that unless you know I've done something to this photo, it doesn't scream retouched. I mean, how's that? Is that nicer? And always we can turn that off to see what happened. So it just softened it a little bit. So I'd like you to try to make this photo as nice as you can. Dreamy's okay, or just a normal retouch. Give it a shot.